All right. Can you hear me now? I want somebody to check for me if you can hear me. Right. Yeah. So we can start right now. If all of you can hear me right now, then I'm going to start. Right. Today, grade 10, welcome back to Get Simplified channel. Today, we are going to look at spreadsheet, and we will try as much as possible to complete all that is needed for spreadsheet from term 2 up until term 4. I will try and cover all the topics today. And then you have access to these data files and then the recordings as well. Right. Now, when we talk about spreadsheet, it's an application software which we use to organize data and also do some kind of analysis and manipulation of data in a tabular form. Now, spreadsheet consists of rows and columns, whereby the rows are the horizontal spaces and then the columns are the vertical spaces. Now, we can use spreadsheet to create budget and to also capture max to calculate additions, averages, max, and the rest. Now, with a spreadsheet, like I said, it has rows and columns. And then the intersection of a row and a column form what we call a cell. And each cell has a name called cell reference. So for instance, the intersection of cell A or column A and then row 1 will give you cell A1. And then the intersection of column A and row 5 will give you A5. Right. So basically, we get the cell address or the cell reference from the column name and then the row number as well. Now, when you talk about the cell range basically refers to a group of cells. For instance, from A1 up until B10 will give you a cell range group of cells. And then also in spreadsheet, we have various data types. That's the numerical values, which includes numbers, date, and time. We also have text, which includes the name and labels. And then we also have data types like functions and formulas. And then lastly, we also use the number format to change one data type to another. We are going to also look at it today. Then there is also a spreadsheet feature that we use to quickly copy content from one cell to adjacent cells. And that spreadsheet feature is called autofill. We will be looking at that as well. And then whenever you use autofill, you must always check that the mouse pointer is changed to a fill handle, which is a small black cross that we can use to autofill. Then we'll also be looking at formatting of the cells. That is the font group, how to change the font style, the font size, the font colors, and the rest. We will also look at alignment group, where we will change the alignment, justify, right, and also merge and center rep text, which is fully visible, and then the change orientation, increase and decrease indent, and then lastly, change decimal places. Then we will also look at the sheet tab, where we need to insert new sheet or renaming of sheet, moving and copying of worksheet, and then changing tab colors, rearranging worksheet, hide and then unhide worksheet. Then from there, we will also look at inserting headers and footers, as well as other field properties. Then the page layout, changing orientation, changing the margins, the size, setting print area, and then changing the scale of your page. We will also look at flash fill, which is different from the autofill. how to insert hyperlinks, and then we will look at different functions and formulas like max, mode, which we will deal with it today. And then we also have relational operators, which are symbols used to specify certain relationship between two numbers. For instance, equal sign, greater than, less than, and then in spreadsheet, we type greater than or equal sign like this, and then less than equal sign, and this one is not. When you put less than and greater than sign together, we refer to it as not. So for instance, equals to A1 is not equals to B1. That means they are not the same. Then we will look at how to sort data, and then how to filter, free space, and then graphs and charts. Right, so first of all, I'm going to take one example, and then I'll go through all this. Then after that, we will solve series of questions. So how do we open spreadsheet? When you click on start, you look for Excel. You search for Excel, which is a typical example of Microsoft version of spreadsheet. Right. So I'll open the spreadsheet. Now, we are going to look at different things that you must take note when you are dealing with spreadsheet as grade 10 learner. We have different ribbons like file, whereby we use the file menu to save or to save as, to check the information of the file, to open, and then to also print. Then we also have home, where we have the font group, the alignment group, number group, styles, cell group, editing, and the rest. Then we also have insert group, whereby we use it to insert shapes, icons, symbols, and then charts or different graphs. We can also use insert group to insert a comment or hyperlink, or to also insert headers and footer. And then we have page layout. When you go to page layout, that is where we change the page setup, like changing the margins, the orientation, the size, setting up print areas, changing the background of your spreadsheet, and then printing grid lines, and then also heading. Then when you go to formulas, that's where you see all forms of function library, like the date and time functions, the text functions, the lookup functions, and the rest. We also have the name range. We will be using this more often as well. And then we have the data, where we use to sort, to filter, to change from text to column. We also have data validation and removing duplicate. Whenever we want to use any of these features, we go to the data tab. Then we have review, whereby we use it to check the accessibility and also insert new comment, protect worksheet, and then protect workbook. Then we have view for page layout. If you want to change from page break preview to page layout, we go to view. Right. These are some of the things that we will be looking at, or we are going to use them. Now, like I said, in spreadsheet, we have columns. Columns are the vertical lines. So hence we have column A, column B, column C, and then we have the rows as the horizontal ones, the horizontal spaces, like row 1, row 2, row 3. Now, when a row meets a column, they form this box, and this box is called a cell. Now, like I said, each cell has a unique name. Now, at any point in time, only one cell will be active. For instance, if I click on A1, the name of the active cell will be displayed in a space called name box. So this space here, we call it name box, which displays the name or the cell address of the active cell. Now, when we talk about the active cell, is that cell that whenever we type, the content will be displayed in that cell. So here, if I type name, the content will be displayed in the cell called A1. Right. And that is the name box. And then whatever that you type here also as well will be displayed in this box here called a formula bar. So a formula bar, which we have the FX, displays the content of the active cell. Or in other words, it displays the content of the cell you have selected. So that is the formula bar. Now I'm going to just use this one to go through the various tabs under home. So if I have here, I type grade 10 marks. Now I type it in A1. Now you can see that it has spilled over to column B, but then it is not in column B. It is only in column A. Now, when you have this type of errors, what you need to do is you must expand the column. Now, you click in between A and B, column A and B, and then you drag it to your right so that everything will be visible. Alternatively, if you don't see all the content, what you can do is you have to apply what you call the rep text. Now, rep text is under the alignment. So when I click there, everything will be visible inside that cell. We call it rep text. And then we also use another feature under the alignment called merge and center. We use merge and center to combine multiple cells together. Now, if I want to combine cell A1 up until G1, I will have to click and then drag it up to G1 to select them. Now, this is merge and center. Right, if in examination you don't know where to find merge and center, just go to the search tool and then you type merge. It's going to give you merge and center so that it will combine these multiple cells together. So merge and center combines multiple cells together, and then rep text ensures that all the content are fully visible. So that's the difference between rep text and then merge and center. Now, I will type names here, name and then surname. Then I have age and then amount. So let's say I want to make sure that the name, the surname, the age, and then the amount. I want to increase the font or change the font size. So I will select it. Now, when you go to the font group, you click on this arrow to change the font type. So I can change it to any font type based on the question. And then the font size. You click on this increase font size. This capital A here increases the font size, and this small one also decrease the font size. So if I click on this, it changes to 12. If I click again, it changes to 14. Right, that's how we increase the font size, or you can select it from this arrow. Right. Now, we can see that when I increase the font size, not all of them will be visible. So I'll have to enlarge these columns to make sure that everything is visible. Now, how do I achieve that? Column A is too narrow. So I go in between A and B. I put a mouse pointer there. It changes to this plus symbol. It's not a thick one. You double click, it's going to expand for you. Now B and C, you double click as well. C and D, double click, and then also between D and E, so that everything will be visible. Now, when you change all these fonts, there's another thing called the orientation. The orientation, changing the direction of your text. Now, by default, the direction of these texts are horizontal. So if I want to change this orientation to a certain angle, I will select them. Now you will find it under alignment group. Then you see this one, AB, with an arrow pointing to a certain direction. That is the orientation. If you don't know where to find it in examination, just go to the search and type orientation. So to give you the rotate up or alignment setting, then you open it. So when I click there are several orientations. We have angle clockwise, which is positive 45 degrees. Now, if I change it to angle clockwise, this is counterclockwise. Clockwise is negative 45 degrees. If I want the content to be vertical text, we also have rotate up, and then we have rotate text down. And then lastly, if you don't see a particular angle, what you need to do is you go to format cell alignment. Now, if I go to format cell alignment, you will see orientation. Now here, another orientation, we can type the specific degrees here, or we can use this one to tilt it to a specific degree that the question wants. We are going to look at some of these questions later on. So you can change the angle to any degrees. Right, so this is how we change the orientation. Now, we also have increase indent and then the decrease indent. Now, if I want this text to be pushed to the right-hand side, I click on the amount and then I use this one, increase indent and then decrease indent under the alignment group. So if I click on increase indent, it pushes to the right side, as you can see. Now decrease indent, it must push back. So that's how we change the indentation. So we use the increase indent and decrease indent for the indentation. Let me widen it, then you see. So if I increase indent, you can see that it's shifting to the right-hand side. If I want it to be to the left, use the decrease indent. Right, so take note of the alignment group here. We have merge and center to combine text. We have wrap text to ensure that all the text are fully visible. We have increase indent and decrease indent. We have orientation. Now, still under the alignment, if I want this text to be aligned vertically centered and horizontally centered. Now, this is the alignment here. This one is the horizontal center, and this one is vertical center, which is middle align. So if you get a question that says, center the heading vertically and horizontally, meaning that you have to click on these two under the alignment group. Right. Now, So this is the left center. This is the left alignment. This is the center. And this one is the right alignment. Then still under the alignment, there are other things that you won't find it here in this group. So because you don't find them here, you go to this arrow, which is alignment settings. Just like in Microsoft Word, whenever you see this arrow under each group is the settings that gives more options. So if I go to alignment settings, we have it also here, center horizontally and vertically. So instead of you to use this one, you can achieve that by going to alignment settings, and then you take or you choose horizontal center and vertical center. Again, we have indent also here to a certain or specific number. Then we also have red text and then merge cell. Then we also have the text direction from left to right and right to left. So take note of these alignment settings. Also, we have shrink to fit. If you want the text to be squeezed into a smaller font so that it will fit inside the cell, you take this shrink to fit here. And this one is the orientation. So basically under the alignment, we have the text alignment, we have the text control, which is the red text, merge and shrink to fit. We have also the text direction and orientation. So as grade 10 learners, watch out for these for term 2 examination and the subsequent examinations as well. They'll always ask at least 1 or 2 questions, which we are going to look at it today. Right, so that is under the alignment. Now we also talk about the font, how to change the font and how to also shape. Now, this heading we have merged it. Now let's increase the font and change the font color. Now, if I want to shade or fill in the background of this cell, I will have to go to the font group. This one with the yellow by default, we call the fill color. When you click on it, you can fill it with different colors. You shade it with different colors. So you can choose different colors to fill in. Now, if I want to put a border around it, next to shading, you see here, there's an arrow for border. So here, if I want to put a border, I go to that arrow. Then I choose more border. But there are some default borders here that take outside, the inside, and others. Now, if you want to get more options, you go to more borders so that you can choose the color for your border. Let's say I want the color for my border to be this. And then I choose the type of line. Then when you choose outline, all the borders will be around it. Now, if you get a question that says, only insert the border to the top and then the bottom. So here, you click here for the top, and then this side for the bottom. So here we have the top and bottom border around it. The same way, if I want to put borders again, only for the side borders. So I choose, this is for the side, the left, and then the right side. And then you choose OK. So this one has the left and then the right borders. So that's how we choose borders and shading. But there are other shading effects or the fill effect that you don't find it here. This is just filling with normal colors. There are other fill effects. So let's say I don't want this color. So I choose no fill. Now I want to put a new border and shading. How do I do that? I can choose any font group settings or alignment group settings or number format. Now, when I click on alignment settings, any of them, remember it gives me what we call the format cell. Alternatively, We can get to format cell by going to search and then you type cell. It's going to give you format cell. Or when you go there, you right click and then you see here format cells. So there are three ways of getting into format cells. Either you right click on the cell you want to format and then you choose format cells, or you go to any of the tab here. It's going to give you format cells, or you go to the search, or sometimes you see tell me what to do. You type the keyword cell. Now, when you go to format cell, we have the number format, we have the alignment, we finish alignment, we have the font, we also talk about font, changing the font size, bold, italic, different font, font effect, underline, color, superscript, and subscript. Now, for the border, we went there also. Now, when you go to fill, we have what we call the pattern style filling. Now, when you see the pattern style, there are different names. We have the solid, we have 75% gray, we have here 50% gray. So in most cases, questions, they will tell you which pattern style you should choose. We are going to look at that, and you must watch out for such type of question. Which pattern style you must select, they will tell you. So you choose the pattern style, and then you choose the color. Let me choose other pattern style, yes. And then, okay. So this is how we do pattern styles. Now, there is also another type of filling. When you go to format cell, we call it the gradient fill. Now, you will not find gradient fill here. You need to go to fill effect, and then it gives you the gradient fill. It's a combination of two colors. So here, let's say the gradient fill, I want first color to be red, and then the second color to be this color. It's a combination of two colors. And now you have to select the shading style, whether horizontal, vertical up, or from corner or from center, which the question will always ask you which one you must select. And then you click OK. So this is the gradient fill, and this one is a pattern style filling. Right. Please, as I move on, if you have any question, you can also as well send your questions, and then I will read and address every question. Today, we will try as much as possible to cover all the topics for grade 10. So if you have any question, you may drop your questions as well, and then I will read your questions. Right. We move straight to, just a minute, I have to read one question here. Right. If you don't understand, you must just put a message, what aspect, but we are going to solve more questions. This is just the introduction. We are going to solve more questions so that you understand it more. Right. Now, we are moving straight to how to fill, how to do autofill, and then also how to apply certain spreadsheet features. Now, for the autofill, let's say I want to add numbers from 1 up until I want to add numbers from 1 up until 10 automatically. So I have to apply what we call the autofill feature. Now, you must always give the spreadsheet how it must fill for you, whether the interval should be 1, 2, 3, or should be intervals of 2. So let's say I want to number from 1 up until 20. I will first type 1 and then also 2. So in this case, the difference between these two is 1. So I want it to increase it by 1. Then you select 1 and 2. When you select it, place the mouse pointer at the bottom of 2 here so that it changes to this cross tick symbol. Then you drag it down. We call it the autofill feature. So you drag it up until the number that you are looking for. So let's say I'm dragging it up until 20. So it's going to fill here from 1 up until 20, instead of you to type them. Again, if I want to display even numbers, so I type 2 and then 4. So the first even number is 2, the second one is 4. You select it and then you drag it down. So it's going to give you 2, 4, 6. That is the interval of 2. So always you give the computer or the spreadsheet a clue how it must autofill for you. Now, if I want the increase of 5, so 5 and then 10, you select it and then use the autofill. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, so the interval. So always tell the computer or tell the spreadsheet what to be the incremental value, whether 1, 2, or 3. Now, we can also use autofill to display days of the week. Let's say Monday. So if I type Monday and then I put the cursor here, then I drag it down, it's going to autofill for me Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Now, if I don't want to display weekend, so you see the autofill option. There's an arrow here. When you click there, you see here, fill weekdays. So that it's going to give you only the weekdays. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, excluding Saturday and Sunday. We can do the same. Instead of typing Monday in full, we can say MON, and then we autofill. And then also we can use the same approach to autofill different months, like January. So you type January in the first cell, and then you drag it down. So it's going to give you automatically or fill up for you the different month for you. Right. So basically, this is how we use autofill features. Autofill features. Now, the last part before we start solving questions will be how to manage worksheet. Now, let's say, for instance, we have sheet 1, and you want to add more worksheet. You click on this plus here, which is the new worksheet. When you click on it, it will create another worksheet for you. If you click again, another worksheet. So now I have from sheet 1 up until sheet 4. Now with this worksheet 1, if you want to change the name, you just double click and then you type the name. Let's say I want this one to be data worksheet. Then I go to sheet 2, you double click. I want it to be analysis. So we just double click to rename the sheet name, graphs. Alternatively, we could have done this by right-clicking and then you choose rename. Now, again, we can delete. Let's say we don't need this worksheet, sheet 4. You just right-click and then you see delete, so that you delete that worksheet. So we delete a worksheet by right-clicking and then you choose delete. Still under the worksheet, we can change the colors of the worksheet. For instance, if I right-click and then I choose tab color, then you change the color of that worksheet. You right-click, tab color, you change the color of the worksheet. So basically, you can change the colors by right-clicking on it and then tab color. Then you give it different tab colors. Now, with this worksheet, let's say I want to duplicate the data worksheet. I want to make another one. You right-click and then you choose move or copy. When you click on move or copy, and then here it will select the worksheet you want to move or make duplicate out of. And then you take here, create a copy. Then okay. So now I'm having 2 copies, the first data and then the second one. The content will still be the same, only that it will give different names. Right. We can also manage this worksheet by moving them. Let's say I want a graph worksheet to be the first one. I click on the graph worksheet and then I drag it to be in the first position. So you click, you hold down the mouse pointer, or you hold down the mouse and then you drag it to the position where you want it to be. So that's how we move from one worksheet to another. Then the last one will be how to change the column height and then the column width and then the row height. Let's say this row is too small and you want to change the width of this row. You right-click on the numbers. Then you see row height. So here, if I want the row height to be 50, I type the exact row height, then okay. So this row only has 50 height. You can do the same by the columns. You right-click, and then you see column width. Let's say I want to change to 30, you type it, then that column will be widened or will be changed to 30 units. So basically, this is how we format our worksheet, row height, column width, creating any worksheet, and then the rest. Now, let's go straight to the questions before we start the function. I have the first question here. Data types.xls. You can also have that. I've shared this with you. There are so many questions that we are going to work from here. It says format the worksheet so that all the details is fully visible to the user. Now I will underline this one. Whenever you get a question that says fully visible, let me increase the font size. When you see fully visible, it meaning that you have to apply what we call the ref text. You have to apply ref text. So whenever you get a question that says fully visible, it means ref text. Now, let me open the data types worksheet. Don't forget, this lesson will also be, it's being recorded. You will have access to it as well. Right. Now the question says it should be fully visible. Format the worksheet so that all details is fully visible to the user. Resize column width and row height where necessary. So we can see that play code, region code. If you click here, region code, not all of them are fully visible. Code is not fully visible. Now, if you want everything to be fully visible, you select the column, the row. How do we select this row? You click on the row number, and then you choose rep text. So when you select rep text, everything will be fully visible. Now, when we look at it, the columns also, not all of them are fully visible. So we have to also widen each of them. You start from between A and B. You double click. Between B and C, you double click to check that everything is fully visible. So you just double click so that everything will be displayed properly. Now this one here, whenever you see hashtag, it's an error that says that the column is too narrow. So you need to widen it. You double click, then everything will be fully visible. So basically, this is how we ensure that the columns and then the content are fully visible. Now let's check the next question. Format the headings of each column so that it displays as follows. The headings are bold, underlined, and then the font size is 12 pt. So this is the headings. So you select row 1. It says you must bold it. You go to the font group. You click on bold. And then we should underline and then change the size to 12 pt. Underline, and you increase the font to 12 pt. So this is what the question wants us to do. Then the next one says, heading font color is blue and row shading is light gray. The font color is blue. So we go to the font group. This is the font color. We change it to blue. And then it should be shaded to light gray. This is the shading. We go there, we pick light gray color. So this is how we format the heading. The next question, format the columns as follows. Play code. The play code should be number with no decimal places and 1000 separator enable. Now, we are going to change the play code number format. Like we discussed at the beginning of the lesson, we said we have what we call number format. Now, this question wants us to change it to number, and then there shouldn't be any decimal place, and then it should be 1000 separator as well. So we select the column, the range. So you select the values, and then we must change this code to number. Now, like I told you, when you select, you can go to number format. There's a settings here. You click there. And then the number format, you might change it to number, 0 decimal place. It gives you the number of decimal places. So this question says no decimal place. So we change the decimal place to 0. So we have different formatting. We have the number, currency, accounting, date, time, percentage, fraction, scientific, text, and then custom. So this question wants us to change it to number and 0 decimal place. Then we should use a comma separator, this one, 1000. So you take this one, and then okay. So whenever you use 1000 separator, there will be space. After the 3 digits, there will be space. So that is how this question wanted us to do. Now let's check the next question. For the region code, it should be number, no decimal place. And then the salary should be currency, South African rand with 2 decimal places. So now we go to region code. We select it as well. Then you go to the number format, click on this arrow. We select number with 0 decimal place, and then OK. And then also the salary, which is in column H. You select it, all the values, the range of values there. And then we go to number format, click on that arrow for the number format settings. We change it to currency. And like the question said, it should be, the symbol should be South African rand. So it's by default there. If, let's say, the question wants you to change it to American or any other currency, all the currencies are available here that you can select. So here we choose South African rand and 2 decimal places. We change the number of decimal places to 2. Please take note of this, how to change the formatting, how to shade. That is what you'll be required to do regarding the June examination as grade 10 learners. So whatever that we are doing here, expect them in your June examination as well. Now let's move straight to the next question. Percentage increase. We should change it to percentage with 1 decimal place. Then the total should be number, 2 decimal place, and no thousand separator. So we go to percentage increase. And then we change it to percentage. You go to number format, and then you select percentage. So let's check the question, the number of decimal place. 1 decimal place. So we change the number of decimal place to 1. And then OK. So by default, the fraction has been changed to percentage. Then you say the total should be number. Also, you go to number format. You change it to number with number of decimal place should be 2. We shouldn't use the thousand separator, so we must untick this one and then OK. Then 3.6, start date, date with a number format, Y, 2M, and DD. Now let's check that one as well. The start date, you select it. We go to number format again. So anytime you are changing range of values to a specific format, we go to number format. And then when you choose your date, you won't find that one there. So if you want to change the date format to a specific format, you must choose custom. Then where it says type, you delete this, and then you type whatever that the question wants you to display. Now, this question says it should be Y dash 2M and dash 2D. Now, Y meaning that, 4Y meaning that the years must be written in full, and then 2M meaning that the month should be in short, like 02 or 04. And 2D should also be short as well. So let's take a look at it. We type 4Y. As you type, you will see them there. The sample dash 2M dash 2D. So this is what the question wanted. The year first dash the month in short dash the day as well. Now, if let's say we wanted to change it further, if I wanted to be 4D, whenever you type 3D, it's going to give you the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday in short. If I type 4D, it's going to type the day in full, like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Sunday, and then dash 4M. So if you type 3M, it will give you January, Jan, February, Feb. When you type 4M, it gives you in full as well. And then YYY. So even this one, the question can even tell you to put another day also with 2D. They can give you funny format So all that you need to do is when you go to the number format, you type the format here under the custom. Whatever the question gives you, most of the times you won't find them here. You need to change it. The same applies to time. If it's time, you type the time there as well. Right. Now let's check other questions also. Insert a new column in column A. Automatically add numbers from 1 to 50. And then in column M, use a spreadsheet feature to automatically display from M1 to M12 the names of the month. So here we are going to insert a new column here. Column A already contains the play code. So we want to insert a new column to replace this column A. So you click on A, you right click and then choose insert so that automatically it will create a new column for you. Now the question says we should number it from 1 up until 50. So if the increment is 1, it becomes easier. You type 1, drag it down. Let's say I drag it up to here. I'm dragging up to 50. It gives me 1, 1, 1, 1 because I didn't type 2. But then it is still correct. What you need to do is you will find autofill options. Click on this arrow and then you choose fill series. Fill series. So it's going to put the increment of 1 for you. Then this question also wants us to put the days here, days of the week. So Monday, and then you autofill. So if you want only the weekdays, you click there and choose fill weekdays. So basically, this is how this question wanted us to go about to change different data formats. Now, next question, we will be looking at how to fill and then other things. I will pause for about a minute and check if you have any question, then I can address that question before we proceed. Don't forget to add your questions there. I will check every question and then address everybody's questions as well. We will try and solve more questions today. Yes, you can download it. I send the questions, it's under it, but I'm going to send them again. It's inside that folder, and then you can add it. I'll make it available as well. Right, now let's move on to this question whereby we are going to find the pattern style. For fun, and then this question, we are going to change the page layout, merge and center, fill in with a pattern style, wrap text, add column numbers. Now, this question that you see here is a typical type of question that you should expect in June examination as grade 10 learner, how to change the tab color, how to fill in, and then add autofill and others. So we will try and solve all these questions as well as the function. Right, so I'll open that file and then we solve them as well. So for fun, yes, this video will be available. You can download them as well. And then the data will also be available so that you practice them. Please, you have to do that. Right, now let's move straight to this question. Using the games worksheet. Now the question says, change the layout of the sheet to landscape, merge and center A1 to G1. That's the first question. How do we change the layout of the worksheet? You go to the page layout, and then you see orientation, then landscape. Right. Now, the next question says we should also change or merge and center from A1 up until G1. So this is A1. You select it up until G1. And then you see merge and center. Then the question says, oh, G2 up until G2, A1 up until G2. Right, from A1 to G2. You select it. Let me restart. Click on A1, select it up until G2. Then you click on merge and center. The next question says, fill the merge cell with a dotted pattern on the light purple colored background, like the example shown below. Now, it should be the pattern style, which is the dotted one, and then the color should be purple. So you click inside the merge cell, and then you go to the alignment group. Then you see fill, pattern style. We have to look for dotted pattern style. Right, so dotted, not the stripe one, should be dotted. I think these are the dots, but they didn't put a specific percentage. And then the color should be gray, light gray. Let's check. No, purple. Purple color, and then okay. Then the next question says, wrap the text in cell H3. This is H3. If you cannot go there, you can also type in the name box. You type H3, enter, it will take you that side. Wrap text, you click on wrap text, or you can go to search and type wrap. Then you click on it. Wrap text simply means fully visible. Then the next question, unhide column C. Yes, when you talk about unhiding and then hiding a column, if there's a column that's hidden that you cannot see, you have to unhide. Now here, we can see column A, B, and then D. There is no column C, it's hidden, which is in between B and D. So to unhide, you select B and D. Then you right-click and choose unhide. So now it's going to display the column that is hidden in between these two. If you want to hide a certain column, you right-click and say hide, so that that column will be hidden. So that's how we unhide and then hide a column. Add numbers in column A from 1 up until 28. So you can see that these questions keep on repeating. These are previous question papers for grade 10. That's the autofill. Add from 1 up until 28. 1 was given to you, so you drag it down. Or alternatively, when you click there and then you see the autofill icon here, don't put it here. If you put it here, it's not going to autofill. You put it at that edge. You double click, it's going to fill in 111 for you. But then you click here, autofill options, and choose fill series, so that it will just give the incremental of 1. So that's how we do the autofill in examination to make it easier for you. Change the cell formatting in column G to display in South African rand with 2 decimal places. This is column G. It is already in euro, so we have to change it to South African rand to 2 decimal places. So we select the column items or the range, go to number format, or you can right click and say format cells. You choose the number format, currency, the symbol should be rand. So you look for South Africa. or normally it's always at the beginning. Yeah, there's R here with 2 decimal places and then okay. Then the next question, sort the worksheet from cell A3 to G31, first according to cell name and then according to name. Now, sorting can be done in ascending or descending. Now, this question says we have to sort them from A3 to G31 according to cell name first and then according to name. Now, whenever you see according to, that means in ascending order, unless otherwise stated. That means that unless they tell you to sort in descending order, always it will be ascending order. So here we are going to sort from A1 to G31. Whenever you are sorting, make sure that you select the headings also. They must be included. So we select this, the headings up until G31. Don't include this part, only the heading. Now, the sorting, you can use this side, or under editing, you see sort and filter. So when you go to sort and filter, then you select custom sort. Now, custom sort, make sure you take my data header because we selected the heading. So you take my data header, and then you select here. They said we must sort according to cell name, sort by cell name in A to Z. That is ascending order, and then to name. So now, because and then to name, you click on this one, add level. So you click on add level, and then by name, also A to Z. Now, if let's say you have made a mistake, you can delete the level as well, add level, name A to Z, and then okay. So the data has been sorted first by cell name. You can see Adam, Africa, and then by the name. So basically to sort, select your data, including the headings, and then you go to the home tab, you will find under editing, sort and filter, you select custom sort, and then you choose the levels that you want to sort according to. Right, now let's move to the next question. Change the tab color of the worksheet to dark purple, and then delete sheet 1. So the worksheet, this is the worksheet. You right click, tab color to dark purple. And then delete sheet 1. Sorry. You right click, delete. Right. Okay. Now, this is the end of this question. We will revisit the data when we are dealing with calculations as well. Now, let's move straight to the next question. There are a lot of questions that I will urge you to try your hands on. They follow the same pattern. Like here also, merge and center, change the size of the heading to 20 pt, the row height, and then you center it vertically and horizontally, double line. So let's look at this question also for expenses. Then I'll move straight to calculation so that you have time to do all these questions for me at home as well. They follow the same pattern styles, and then the size and height and others. Try your hands on all of them. And then I believe with this, you are not going to leave any question regarding spreadsheet unanswered. Right, now let's move straight to for expenses. Right, now I will start with the first question. Merge the content of cell A1 to G1. So this is A1 up until G1. You select it, and then you choose merge and center. Change the size of the heading in the merge cell to 20 pt. So you click on the merge cell, the size should be 20. Either you click here and choose 20, or you can use increase font to 20. Format the row height of row 1 to 38. This is row 1. So you right click on the number 1, you'll find row height. Please don't right click inside the cell. It's better sometimes in some of the older versions you struggle there. Right click on the number, row height, and then you type 38. The next question, center the content of the merge cell vertically and horizontally. This is what I was referring to. If they ask you to center vertically and horizontally. Now, this is the merge cell. To center vertically, it's already centered horizontally. So you click on the one also that's the middle align, so that it will center vertically and horizontally. Add a double line border around the heading. Now this is the heading. We want to put a double line border around this heading. So to put a border there, like I said, you can go to the font group or even any of the groups. When you click there, you see border. Then double line, you select double line around, that's the outline. The question didn't ask for any color. So if you want to choose any color, you can do that as well. And then outline. Okay. So when you click outside, you see that there's a border around it. Change all the headings in row 5 to bold and rep text. This is row 5. So all the headings should be changed to bold. So you click bold and then rep text so that they'll be fully visible. Ensure that all the information in the spreadsheet are fully visible. Like I said, when you see that, it means you must rep text. If some of the information are not visible, like here, all information is not visible. So you must rep text. If any of these are not visible, you can do that. Or alternatively, you can adjust the columns. You double click on the edges to adjust them so that everything will be visible. Right. The next question. Insert a border from cell A5 to G25. So from A5 to G25. So meaning that you must put a border around this. You select them. And when they ask you for border and they didn't tell you the specific color or the specific border, you can easily go to borders and shading, and then you put outline or outside border to be thick one also as well. Right, so basically this is what the question wanted us to do. And the last part, it says a small green triangle appears in cell G7 indicating an error. Remove the triangle from the cell. Like this one here. Whenever you see that type of triangular thing, it means that it has been changed to maybe a cell, and then it's checking from this first number. That means there is an error. So you can ignore that error. To remove it, when you click there, you see the options, and then you say ignore error, so that that error will be gone. Now, this is the cell phone number. It's not in the question, but I want you to take note. Now, this cell phone number needs to have 0. Now, it's not a number, so we have to change it to text. It's not a number. So to change it to text, when you click on it, go to number format and select text. So that when you type 0 in front, it's going to be there. Alternatively, we could have achieved that one by also putting it in inverted comma. So here it shows an error. You can just go there and say ignore error. So basically, this is how we change cell phone numbers. It should be text. Take note. And now, work in the class list. Shade the column headings in row 3 with a color of your choice. Sort all the information according to the class column. Insert a new column in front of the cell name. Add the heading code at the top of the new column and format it to look as same as the other columns. Number all the names in the list from cell A4 to A29. So basically, we are repeating the same steps here. The question, first of all, wants us to shade column headings in row 3. These are column headings. We must shade with any color of our choice. That's the first question. And then it says we must sort it according to the class. Remember, when we are sorting, we need to select including the heading. And then we go to sort and filter, then custom sort. Then here it says sort according to class, A to Z. Now, if we choose Z to A, that means from descending order. So basically, this is how we sort data. Add the heading code at the top of the new column. That means we have to insert new column here. You right click on column A, insert. Now the heading should be code. And then it says you must number them. So you type 1, and then you autofill. How do you autofill? When you click inside it, put a mouse pointer here and double click. Now it gives you 111. So we have to go and change this one here and say fill series so that it will autofill automatically for you. Now we need to change this one, this code, to be like the others here. How do we change it? You click on the cell that has already been formatted, and then we use a feature called Format Painter under the clipboard, Format Painter. When you click on it, then you go and click on code, it will be formatted automatically. So Format Painter is used to format a certain cell according to the rest of the cells. We use the Format Painter. This is how I did it. You click on the one cell that is already formatted, go to the clipboard, click on Format Painter, and then you select it. So this is how we use Format Painter to ensure that the formatting looks the same or consistent. Right, so basically, this is how this question wants us to do. Now, I would like us to do this question. I don't want to repeat this. If, let's say, the question is asking you to ensure that when you scroll down, like you can see here, if I scroll down, the headings are also vanishing. I don't see the heading. Now, to ensure that all the headings are fully visible, when you scroll down, you always see the headings, they remain. We have to use a feature called freeze pane. Freeze pane. Now, how do we use freeze pane? This is the name of the feature called freeze pane. It's used in such a way that some headings are always visible, even if you scroll down. It's a spreadsheet feature. Now, if I want this headings, like from row 1 up until row 3 to always be on top when I scroll down, I have to go to the next row just after row 3 because I want row 1 up to 3 to remain on top. So I will select row 4. Then you can use search by saying freeze pane, or alternatively, you can also find freeze pane from view. So when you go to freeze pane, and then you take this one, or you click on this one, freeze pane. If you select freeze top row, that means it's going to select only row 1 to be always on top. Or freeze first column, that's only column A to always be there when you scroll to your right-hand side. So here, I choose freeze pane because I have selected row 4. So freeze pane, so that when I scroll down from row 1 up until row 3 will always be remaining on top. So you normally meet such type of questions, returns, watch out for that. Now, in case if I want to unfreeze, also, sorry, I can also do the same thing by unfreezing it also. Now, if I want to unfreeze, I go to freeze, then you see unfreeze pane, so that when I scroll, all of them will be vanishing. What about, somebody may ask, what about if I want only row 1 and 2 to remain on top? I must go to row 3 and select, and then I type freeze pane, so that only row 1 and 2 remain on top. So basically, the row that you want to start vanishing when you scroll down will be the one that you have to select. So if, let's say I want, when I scroll to this side, the data should always be there. So you can see that whenever I scroll to the right-hand side, I don't see my data. So if I want to apply that, I select this one, then I can now freeze the pane that I want to apply. Let me unfreeze the first one first. So freeze pane. So the column would always be there. When I go there, the data will still be remaining. Right, so that is how we apply freeze pane. Good, now let's check other questions before we move straight to functions. I will give you these questions to do as well for data set. If you have the data file, you can try your hand, or you do it so that when we meet again in our next lesson, then you can ask any question, or you can also ask in the group, and then I will assist you. So here, merge center, gray pattern style, row height, vertically and horizontally centered is similar to the question that we just did here. So you follow the same pattern. Now let's look here also renaming the worksheet. Like I said, you double click, sorting, changing the phone numbers. You should always be set to text before you can put a 0 there, and then adding the numbers. Now let's take a look at this question. Let's take a look at this question whereby they gave you a screenshot. So I'll open that data, and that will be the end of formatting cells. Please try your hands on them, because these are the type of questions that you'll be expecting in June examination, and few calculations. The rest, like graphs and others, will be from term 3, not term 2 content. Term 2 is the basic formatting, and then sheet management, as well as basic calculations like date and time functions, and then also count, sum, and others, which we are going to take a look at using this data set. Right, now this question says, merge and center cell A1 to G1, change the font size to 20, and then the row height to 50. So from A1 up until G1, you select it, merge and center, or you can use the search tool and type merge and center. The size should be 20, and then the row height, you right click, row height to be 50. The next question, it says, place a thick black border around the merge cell. So this one, border, like I said, you can go to the alignment or you can go to the font group, or alternatively, you can use this one, thick outside border. Because this question didn't tell you the border type. Then the next question also says, change the column width of column A, B, C, D, and E so that all the data is visible. You use that approach, double-click approach. Between A and B, double-click. B and C, double-click. Between C and D, double-click as well. D, E, E, F, you just double-click them to make sure that everything is fully visible. Set the width of column F and G to 11.5. So here, G and F to be 11.5. So you select them, right-click, and you see column width. Then you type 11.5. Right. The next question, format the heading in cell A4 to G4 to display as in the example. So you can see here, the question didn't tell you which angle is it, but you can see this angle is angle counterclockwise. And this one, they applied what we call the red text for these two. Now, let's look at it. So from here up until duration, they applied the orientation, which is the angle counterclockwise. And this one, these two, they apply rep text. So rep text fully visible, and this one, they apply the orientation to 45 degrees, as we can see from the example here. Use a spreadsheet feature to add numbers in column A from 1 to 25. So you can see every single question, autofill question is there. Autofill question is there. And then changing the format. So please try them. You type 1. You autofill by double-clicking. And then you use the autofill options, fill series. So basically, this is what we needed to do. Then the last question there says, change the formatting of column F to display in South African rand value. So this is column F. Select the values, number format, currency, and the South African value with 2 decimal places. Right, so basically this is all about the formatting. One thing that I forgot to discuss was the filter. Let's say we want to filter, we didn't see any question there because filter mostly is grade 11 and 12. Let's say we want to only display amount that's greater than 200 or 300. So now we want to apply filter there. It is part of sort and filter. Then you see filter. Now, because we want to apply it only for price for duration, you click on this filter options. Now, because we want more than 20,000, or maybe if the question wants you to select specific values, you tick them here. Because we want more than, you go to number filter, and then you say greater than, let's say 20,000. Okay. So it's going to display only the values that are greater than 20,000 here. If you want to remove it, you go there and then you say clear filter so that you remove the selection. So this is all about filter. If you get questions like that, go to filter from sort and filter, and then you choose filter. Right. Now we move straight to calculations. What type of calculations should you expect? In spreadsheet, when it comes to calculations, if we begin with equal sign, And then we can do the normal calculations, like using the arithmetic operators, or we can be given a question about functions, which are the inbuilt formulas in spreadsheet. Now, I have this question here, the same data file, which says, use a function in cell B3 to display today's date. Format the date as GD-M-M-2Y. Now, in B3, the question wants us to put today's date. Now, boys and girls, take note. Whenever you are displaying today's date, we use what we call today. And every function or every formula in spreadsheet begins with equal sign. So equal sign, today. As you start typing today, you see FX. Double click on FX and then enter. You know, today, always bring bracket open, bracket close. You don't put anything inside. So equal sign, today, bracket open, bracket close will give you today's date. Now, we also have another function called now. The now function gives today's date and time. So equal sign, now, double click on FX and enter. It will give you the date, 20th April 2025, the time 1929. So it gives you the date and then the time. So now give date and time, the current date and current time, and then today gives the current date. So that tomorrow when you open the same data file, the date will change. This one changes automatically. Right. The next question, add a formula in cell G4 to determine the price per day for the tour. Now, G4, this question says we should add a formula, not a function. Like I said, a formula begins with equal sign, and then we use arithmetic operators like addition, that is plus, multiplication, which is asterisk, slash, which is division, and then also we have raised to the power function. So now, whenever you are doing formula, we use these with great attention. You must take note. This one for addition. This is minus. And then we have slash. Forward slash is when you use forward slash, forward slash is division, and then multiplication is this one. And then raised to the power is shift and 6. This is raised to the power. So basically, these are the arithmetic operators. Now, the question says we have to calculate price per day. Remember here, we have the price for the entire duration, and then the number of durations for this person is 12. This one is 23. So we want to find the price per duration. If the person, the entire price is 56,000, and then the person spent 12 days, the price per duration, that's price per day, 1 day, will be division. So it will be equal sign. Click on the value. In spreadsheet calculations, we don't type the values. You click on the cell that contains the value. Now, equal sign, then you click on where the value is, divided by the duration. So equal sign F5 divided by E5. The content of F5 divided by the content of E5. Then you press enter. It gives me hashtag here, meaning that the column is too narrow. I must widen it. Now, if I autofill, it's going to calculate for each of them. Let me double click here. You'll see F6 over E6. If you go here, F7 over E7. So it will go in adjacent way. I mean, it will follow like that. You don't need to do for one after the other. Right. So this is how we use functions, equal sign. So you can use multiplication, you can use division and others. So let's say I want to find our price per day for 30 days. Equal sign. If I need 30 days, equal sign, this is the price per day, times 30. Times 30. So this will be the answer. So multiplication, we use asterisk. Addition, we use plus. So take note for that. Right, the next question. We need to do these calculations here. The longest store. We are going to use these spaces to do this calculation. Now we want to find the longest store. This is the duration. So we want to find the longest. In other words, the longest duration. Now the longest meaning that the highest value. And the function to calculate the highest value is max. So whenever you have a function for calculating the highest value, we use max. A function to calculate the shortest, we use min, which is the smallest value. So here we press equal sign. Because we want the longest, that's the biggest value, max. Maximum. Now, don't forget to always double click on FX. It opens the dialog box for you. Go to the formula bar, click on FX here again. It says number. The number, you select the range of values. So you select the values under the duration. You select all the values. And then you click OK. So it gives us 23. That means the highest value here is 23. The same way for the shortest. Equal sign min. Whenever you are finding the shortest, we use min, M-I-N. Double click, click on FX. And then also the range, you select them in that column and then OK. So the minimum value here is 3. This is how we put it, equal sign min into bracket the range, which is E5 up until. So we use a column to represent up to or for the range. E5 up to E29. So we use column. The easier one is to select them. Now, price that occurs most frequently. Whenever you see most frequently, we use a function called mode. When you see most frequent occurring number, we use mode. Shortest or smallest, we use min. Longest or biggest value, we use max. So most frequently occurring price, we use what we call mode, equal sign mode. And then you click on FX. They are talking about price. So we select the price as our range of values, and then OK. So this is the price that occurred most. 56,500 occurred more times here. So that's the answer. And then the middle number, we use a function called median. If you get a question that says, find the middle number, we use median. So equal sign, median, and then you click on FX. Again, the number, you select the values. So they are all similar. All that you need to know is you must select the right function. So middle number is 53,000. That means if you arrange all these in ascending order from shortest or from smallest value to the biggest amount, the one in the middle is 53,500. That's the median function. And then the average price of the tools. Now let's check the question again. Find the average price per tool. Now average price, we use the function called average. Equal sign, average. Click on FX, and then you select all the price. And then, okay. So this is our average price. Then the number of tours, the number of tours, we use count. Anytime you see number of tours or number, you use count. Count. Now, count only count numerical values. In other words, numbers. Now, if I say equal sign count, FX, and then I must select only numbers. So in most cases, count only count numerical values. And then we have another function called count A or counter. It counts non-empty values, including text and every value that is inside there. Now, so the count, it should be numerical value. If I select price, it will give me the answer. If I select duration, because they are all numbers. So it gives me 25. In other words, they are 25. But take note. I want you to see this. If, let's say, instead of me to use count, I use count A. Or no, I use count. Then instead of me to select numerical values like column E or the prices, and then I went and selected the names. I get 0. Instead of me to get 25, I get 0. Why? Because count only deals with numerical values, not text, because here is a text. Now, for you to resolve that issue, we use another function called count A. You click on FX. Count A deals with any content, whether it is a text or numbers. Whether it's a text or numbers, you get the right answer. So count A deals with text and any non-empty spaces. That is the function of count A, and then count function. Count only deals with numerical values. Then we also have another function called count blank. Count blank. Let's say there are blank spaces here. There are no duration values here. And I want to see the blank spaces. How many blank spaces are there? I must use a function called count blank. Equal sign, count blank. You click on FX, and then you select the range. It's going to give you empty spaces. So I got 4. So count blank counts the blank or empty spaces. Right. Now, the last question for this says, in cell, make use of a function in cell C37 to choose a random number between 1 and 25 from column A, representing the numbers of the tour. This tour will be the one where a special discount will be given to a lucky tourist. Now, the random number, we use the function called rand between. Rand between. So equal sign rand between. Rand between. You click on FX. Now the bottom and the top, these are the starting value and then where it is ending. Now, because there are 25 people, the start number is 1 up until 25. So the bottom is 1, the top is 25. So it generates random number from 1 up until 25 automatically for the lucky draw, because there are 25 people. Now, if I double click here and I press enter, the value will change. It keeps on changing. It keeps on changing. It is not constant. It will generate numbers between 1 up until 25. Now, basically, these are the functions that you should know regarding grade 10, term 2. So for the June examination, it's up to this. There is no, there won't be any question regarding graphs as well as count ifs or count if function. We will talk about count if and the count if function in our next lesson together with HTML and then Microsoft Word. Because mostly the grade 10 content for June will be more of Microsoft Word and then few spreadsheet, which involves what we have covered today. That is the formatting, changing the values, and doing the basic functions. This is what is expected from you for this term. Right. If you have any question, you may ask the question before I proceed. If anyone has a question, you may ask the question. I will check from the chat. Right. It seems there are no questions. So this is what is expected from you. There are more questions here. There are more questions here. Like for instance here, calculating the average, the total. When it is about the total, we use sum. I forgot to talk about that one also. We use sum. Sum function is for total. I think I must solve this question to also cater for some of these functions. Yeah, let me focus. We still have about 15 minutes. Let me focus on these two questions, and then you will try your hands on the other questions as well. Right. I will start from the 3-bed and then talk about the sum function. Right, I have this data here. I will move straight to the calculations. That's analysis of the data. Right, the number of bird species. Now, let's check here. We have the number of birds spotted here, and then the feet on this. So here, you want the number. Whenever you see the number, okay, let's check the question first. It says insert a function in cell B66 to determine the number of bird species in the table by using column A. We are supposed to use column A, the number. And because column A only contains text, we cannot use count. Now, please take note, whenever you see the keyword number, number means we use a function called count. But when you see total, then we use sum, right? So here it says the number. So the number we use count. But this question has restricted us. It says we have to use column A. So we must use counter, count A. And then we click on FX. Then the value, we select all the values in column A. That is from B3 up until B, or A3 up until A63. So they are 61. Remember, count A. If I remove the A, it's going to give me 0. So take note, because it's a text, it must be count A. Right. The total number of birds. The total. Here, we want to add them. The total means you must add them. So we use the function called sum. Equal sign sum. Click on FX, and then you select the number of birds spotted. So sum is for addition, for adding them to the total number we used a function called sum. Average number of species. Let's check again. Use a formula in cell B68 to give the average number of birds per species. Make use of a spreadsheet feature to display your answer in 2 decimal places. So here we use the function called average. You click on FX and then you select the number of birds. Okay. Now it gives us this. The question says we have to use spreadsheet feature to display this answer in 2 decimal places. And that is what we must go to the number format. It's number, then we choose the number of decimal places to 2. Remember that the question didn't ask us to use a function. It says spreadsheet feature. And whenever you see spreadsheet feature, it's part of either formatting or using any of the functionalities here, not the calculation. Now, the next question. Insert a function in B69 to display the lowest number of birds. The lowest number of birds. That means we use min function. Equal sign min, the smallest value. Click on FX and then you select the values. So the lowest is 89. And the last question, it says, add a function in B70 to determine the number of species where the number of birds spotted is more than 40. Now there's a condition. You want to find the number. The first keyword is number, where it is more than 400. So we have to use count with a condition called count if. Count if function is used when there is a condition. So we say equal sign, count, and then you see count if. When it's only one condition, click on FX, the range, we select the number of species. Then the criteria, they say more than 400. So we put greater than symbol, 400. Greater than symbol, and then 400. That is more than 400. So this will be the number of these species that are more than 400. Count if B3 to B63, which is the range, comma, greater than 400. So that is how we use the count if, but then we will talk about count if in somewhere in term 3. So term 2, you only focus on sum, average, max, min, and those basic spreadsheet functions. So I will urge you to try your hands on these questions on your own, all these questions on your own, so that you will be able to solve some of these questions. This one, random number in column A, we use the rand between, like we did the last time. And then how many groups of 15 are there? And then this one also, each group has to pay 30 rand to enter the competition. Use the formula to calculate the total amount. So this is the formula which involves multiplication and division. So I would like you to do all these questions. Try your hands on them. Don't go through the graphs yet. We will talk about graphs in our next lesson together with count if. Then that will be all about spreadsheet for the whole year. What is left is the graphs, and then also the last part, which is the count if, and then maybe, I think some if is in the 11. Now, hyperlink. Hyperlink. How do we insert hyperlink? Let's say, for instance, I want to link this worksheet here with the bird worksheet by using hyperlink. So let's say I want the hyperlink to be a button. I have to insert a button here. Insert. I choose a shape. Let me use this rectangular rounded shape. Then I draw that shape here. Now I can change the shape color to any color of my choice. Then I can type a message inside by right-clicking and choose edit text. So let's say I type the text as click to bed worksheet. Now I can increase the font size by selecting them, and then I increase the font size. I can take it to the middle by clicking on the alignment. I can change the color as well. Right. Now this shape, I can apply shape format, shape effect, and then I choose preset with like a 3D, preset 1, to make it like a 3-dimensional. So this one looks like a button. Now, with this, I can apply a hyperlink to this one. You right-click and choose link. Now, we can link it to another worksheet, or we can link it to another file as well. But then here, let's link it to place in the document. So we click here, place in the document. Then the worksheet bed, we want to link it to this worksheet, and then okay. So here, if I click on it, it takes me straight to that worksheet. Like a button to take you to different worksheets. So when you are doing your PET, when you start PET, you can apply worksheet to move or to navigate from one worksheet to another. You can also insert icons and others. There are so many icons that you can also insert to make your worksheet look nice. Who knows, you must expect this type of question like hyperlink. You can search for different worksheets, different icons by typing the name, let's say analysis. You can choose any analysis icon and insert it. Then I can apply the hyperlink to it, place in the document. So when I click on it, it takes me to that worksheet. Right, so this is all about hyperlink. Now, the last part of today's lesson will be how to also print or set the print area from the page setup. Now we talk about the margins. You can set the margin by going to custom margin. And then you change your margin, your top margin, your bottom margin, and then left and right margin. You can also center horizontally or vertically on the page, your work. And then also the page, you can change the orientation or adjust the scaling to a certain percentage, let's say 75%, or fit to one page. And then landscape. Again, you can also have header and footer. If you want to type something under header or footer, you can do that also by customizing the header and customizing footer. Also, different first page and different odd and even. You can do that as well. Then the worksheet. When you go to page setup under the worksheet, we have the print area. You can set the print area. Which area do you want to print? So let's say I want to print only. So you click on this arrow, then you select the area you want to print. So when I print, only this part will be printed, the button and others will not be printed. Again, Rows to repeat on top. When you print, if you want a certain row to always repeat or the columns to repeat, you go there. Let's say I want row 1 to repeat, and then you click back. Only row 1 will be repeated when it is printed. Then the last part is, what do you want to print? Grid lines. You want to print the lines here, you take grid lines. Do you want to print in a draft mode? And then the column heading. If you want the A, B, C should be there, and then the 1, 2, 3 should also be there. You take that also. Then the page order, down, then over, or over, then down. So here also you can be given a question of that nature to take all of them under page setup under the sheet. Then this one is the header, and that is margin. When you are done, you can preview your page and check how your page will look like. So basically, this is the page setup, how to change the margins, how to change the orientation, and then how to set the header and footer, and also the sheet tab. So when you are done, then you click OK. Right, this brings to an end of our lesson for the day. For the first lesson, next week or the coming week, we will be having another lesson in grade 10, focusing on Microsoft Word so that you'll be well prepared for the test. Remember, there's a theory test, and then before the examination, we will be looking at that. So don't forget to always be alert so that you can also join our lesson. Every lesson that we will have will be recorded, and then you can also find it in our channel. Thank you for your time. Good night.